Alright, so this is my response video, my feedback on that Mayweather-McGregor fight where Mayweather knocked him out in the 10th round. You know, I saw the fight, it was on YouTube being streamed online, and I might have missed a few of the rounds, but I saw a majority of what happened. I know that the first 3 rounds Mayweather lost, but he didn't get the best in the first 3 rounds, but he overall he ended up winning the whole the boxing match. It was more competitive than what a lot of people would have thought, more than what I would think. I think it was a good boxing match, as far as entertaining is concerned, because Mayweather has a lot on the line. 49-0, and he definitely didn't want to lose this one. It would have been a huge setback for him and the whole boxing community and just everything. But it's great that he ended up winning. I was definitely cheering for Mayweather. I wanted Mayweather to win, and he did well. I give him mad props, for being such a great boxer. So skillful. Boxing since he was a little child, all the way up to now. He's 40 years old, and he just knocked out a 29-year-old who was, at the peak of his career. And he's just a great boxer. Amazing boxer, and he takes his time. He's very strategic. He uses strategy and his intelligence. And I think not in that fight, he didn't even get hit once really hard. They were just all grazes. And the first 3 rounds, I don't think he should have lost. I feel that it should have been a tie. He was just feeling the person out, and he was just Mayweather wasn't even. McGregor wasn't even connecting. He was just more active. But just because he's more active, I don't think that he should have won the rounds. I think it should have just been a draw in those rounds. But Mayweather started to turn it on towards the later rounds, and that's what's expected. McGregor's only trained for 3 rounds, 5 minutes each, and the cage fighting just ends really quickly. Boxing is just a different game. It draws out much longer. 12 rounds. It used to be 15 rounds, and you gotta last much longer. The gloves wear you down quicker. You get more, tired quicker, and it's harder to hit your opponent because you gotta go around the gloves. And even when you make contact, it's gonna be much harder to knock out your opponent because they're not gonna feel the effects of the strike, the power, because the gloves. So McGregor's used to hitting somebody one time and then maybe dazing the person and then tackling him on the ground and then grounding, pounding him and then ending it. But you can't do that in boxing. You got to hit that person over and over and over again to even have them feel anything. And he's not used to that, and it showed. You could tell McGregor was getting really tired, even after the 4th or 5th round, you could tell he was tired. And he's just on his heels, backing up, and Mayweather was going towards him, bringing the fight to him. And, clearly he wasn't ready for that, but Mayweather also give him credit for being off 2 years and just basically coming out of retirement and still being a master at what he does. I think that, being 50-0, not even losing one time, and just, proving himself over and over again, against, all odds, against, people, everybody's trying, wanting for him to lose, but, he's coming out on top, and he should be getting credit for that. McGregor had nothing to lose. He already lost 3 matches in the MMA. He already lost to Nate Diaz, and it already shows that he's not indestructible. It already shows that he's not perfect. It shows, for him to make $100 million on one fight with Mayweather is probably more money than he's ever made in his entire career, just for one fight. and it's well worth it for him just to log an extra loss and make $100 million when you already had 3 losses anyway. He loses absolutely nothing, you know, and he has everything to gain. And he's a warrior. He doesn't want to give up. He didn't want to get knocked down, and if the referee didn't stop it, there's a good chance he might have even died in the ring. If Mayweather just keeps hitting him over and over and over again, he just won't get down. Then hey, that's almost like a suicide. Just die in the ring. But boxing, I respect the sport much more than cage fighting, and the referee stepping in to end it, before it gets too gruesome, and before somebody gets too devastatedly injured, and keep the fight standing, and it's supposed to be a clean fight, and this is another thing to prove to all these people that love cage fighting. When you force a dirty fighter to fight clean, he's not gonna be able to perform. Just like Kimbo Slice fighting in the streets, and then you force him to fight so-called clean in the cage, he's not gonna do too well, and he didn't. Fighting clean is much more difficult than fighting dirty. Like when you're a boxer, hitting them one time is not good enough. You need to hit them over and over and over again, and you gotta go round after round after round to prove yourself. According to the cage rules, McGregor would have won after 3 rounds. Okay, 3 rounds, the fight's over, then McGregor would have won. But this is not the cage fight. This is not 3 rounds. This is 12 rounds. It's a totally different thing. Different size gloves, different rules. You can't take him down to the ground just because you're tired. You can't just hit him one time and then tackle him and then ground and pound him. You can't, fight dirty. You can't, just because you're getting tired, now you're gonna tackle him down to the ground. You can't do that in boxing. You gotta stay on your feet. So it's a totally different game. And Mayweather mastered that game, and McGregor, he's an amateur when it comes to the boxing, and when it comes to cage fighting, he hasn't mastered that either. It's just that he's a very, very popular person and draws a lot of attention. A lot of people want to watch, and this is a big money-making event for both him and Mayweather. And I'm glad that Mayweather won the match. I'm glad that he remains undefeated, and I hope he doesn't get back in there and lose his legacy and everything that he's worked so hard to build. He doesn't want to have that one loss. Like I don't want him to be like a Michael Jordan or somebody who comes back after retirement like Muhammad Ali and start racking up all these losses like Mike Tyson. Like know when to retire, know when to exit, and just leave it alone. And so it turned out all right. I just think that it turned out just fine. He Mayweather took his time at the beginning just to get to know how this person is and let him waste his energy, and then he started to go in there and started to work him. And he got some really good hits in there, and he did a great job. People gotta open their eyes and see, give him credit. He's 40 years old, beating somebody at the prime of their career, 29. There's no way that McGregor at the age of 40 will be able to do what Mayweather's doing at this moment at the age of 40. And he came out of 2 years of retirement. He is 50-0. He hasn't even lost one time yet. Pretty much Mayweather is the Bruce Lee of boxing. He's perfected that craft, that art, that sport, and he's a living legend. Mayweather is a great boxer, but McGregor, you know, he's not at that level, you know, and really they're so attentive to making sure that they weigh the same. And another thing, Mayweather weighed a lot less than McGregor. They're saying McGregor probably went into the fight weighing 170 or something, you know. So they're not even the same weight class. So he beat somebody that's much heavier than him, taller than him, younger than him, you know, and he has nothing else to prove. You know, he's proved himself, just like Usain Bolt's proved himself. You know, it's just that Usain Bolt came back, you know, but Mayweather should stay out of it. He already proved himself enough, and you know, I respect him as a great boxer. You know, and you know, I just promote people to clean it up. You know, I really much rather, you know, boxing is dangerous, but it's better than cage fighting as far as what the rules are concerned. You know, like keep the fight standing. When they get to the ground, and that's it. You know, or when the referee feels that you've taken enough, then that's it. You know, like you don't need to hit people when they're on the ground. I mean, this match made the most money ever, and it has more rules and regulations to protect the people involved. There's no ground fighting necessary. They didn't have to wrestle around and do all this nonsense in the ground. And people were entertained. People liked to watch it. People paid money to watch it. It just shows you that you could have a safer game of combat and make money off of it. People could get fame out of it. You don't need to be rolling around the ground. You don't need to be pounding people on the ground to make money. You know, and I just want people to clean it up, because so-called cage fighting is a cleanup of street fighting, you know, and boxing is a cleanup of cage fighting. You know, it's just, you know, remain standing, prove yourself over and over again, round after round after round. And this is more entertaining. People got that paid over $1,000, you know, over $1,500 for a seat. Everybody that paid $100 just to watch the fight at home, they got to see 10 rounds of action, 3 minutes each. So they got to see 30 minutes of action. But in the cage, you know, 3 rounds, 5 minutes each. Usually it ends within the first round. I mean, it's not entertaining just to see one punch landed. But in boxing, they get to see round after round, they get to see multiple punches being landed. You know, a longer fight. You know, I mean, obviously people are looking to be entertained. You know, and all I'm saying is we should learn to be content with being entertained with events that are more humane. I mean, I could speak against boxing as well, and I do. But when you compare boxing to cage fighting, as far as entertainment is concerned, and what's good for the humanity and its people, I've been saying it over and over again, just stick to the boxing. Just get rid of the cage fighting. You know, it's not necessary. You know, and to me it's not entertaining, and it's not training people's psychology to be healthy, to be able to allow a person to just keep beating on somebody, and even when they're laying on the ground, not even conscious. You know, they haven't even gained their senses back, and you just hit them so hard and they went down, and you just keep hitting them hard and on top of that, even after they're on the ground. I just don't agree to that. you know. Um, so I hope that the super fight kind of reignites people's appreciation for boxing over the cage. You know, because at that moment it was cage fighter versus boxer. Boxer came out on top, and I do highly respect boxing as a very skillful sport, and the people involved are great at what they do. I just don't give the same respect to the cage fighters. I don't. You know, they're not at that level. You know, and martial arts is just outside of all of this. It's not boxing, it's not cage fighting, it's not street fighting. Martial arts is the intelligent way of training to survive, training for self-defense, training in spirituality and meditation and fitness, and expressing yourself creatively as an artist, which has nothing to do with what's going on out there in combat sport. But what I'm just saying, if you are going to get involved in combat sport, you might as well just get involved with the boxing, you know, over the cage. I mean, they just proved it right there. Mayweather's been proving it over and over again. There's even much more money in boxing than there is cage fighting. You know, Dana White dreams of making as much money as Mayweather. You know, and, you know, like McGregor making $100 million to box. I mean, they'll never pay him that amount of money in the cage. So if you want the money, you want the fame, then go into boxing. Don't even waste your time with the cage. You know, I hope that eventually people just lose interest in this whole cage fighting altogether and just get back to what America's known for. They're known for football, basketball, baseball, boxing. This cage fighting is just it's not needed. Get rid of it. You know, it's not good for the martial arts. It's not good for the people, the audience. It's not good for the fighters. It's not good for anybody. You know, just find more creative, healthier ways to generate money, to entertain people, and to guide our kids towards. I mean, do you really want your child to be a cage fighter? Or even a boxer? I mean, I don't want my child to be a boxer. I don't want him to be a cage fighter. I don't want him to be a football player. You know, I want him to be a martial artist. You know, and, you know, I don't support McGregor, clearly. Mayweather, if I had to choose between him and, you know, McGregor, clearly I'd choose Mayweather. But if I had to choose between Mayweather and Bruce Lee, clearly I'd choose Bruce Lee. You know, Mayweather, his style of boxing, I like it. You know, he's very defensive. He doesn't go for the overkill. He's not like highly aggressive, seeking to kill people. You know, he's just landing clean shots, evading, getting out the way, using strategy, protecting his own health, making sure he doesn't just take unnecessary hits. And he does it really well. You know, him in particular, I promote, but it doesn't mean that every single boxer is gonna be like that. You know, there's people out there that box very dirty, and they make the sport look very bad. You know, and you know, I'll even say Mike Tyson is one of them when it came to him, you know, biting Evander Holyfield's ear off, for example. I mean, it's like, we shouldn't be celebrating and recognizing and admiring dirty boxers, dirty fighters, or just dirty people in general, violent people. We shouldn't be celebrating those people. You know, we need to look up to people that serve to be good role models. You know, that know how to balance the energies of aggression and love. You know, and it's sad that there's not many martial artists that people can look up to. But if we're gonna look up to these combat sport people, then look up to some people of quality. You know, somebody like a Mayweather or somebody like a Muhammad Ali. You know, at his time. You know, some sport fighters who've shown and demonstrated compassion. You know, to their opponents, to the people, to this world. You know. You know, normally I don't like to get involved with watching any of these things, but I feel that Mayweather was pretty much representing for the martial artists at that moment, to the clean fighters out there, to the people that are stand-up fighters, not dirty fighters, people that love to fight on the ground, people that like to ground and pound, people that like to choke people out. And no, he's representing the clean combat. You know, stick to these rules, keep it standing, and let's see who's the best at this. You know, and let's keep the fight respectful, let's keep it entertaining, and let's just try our best. You know, it's clean. You know, and I just promote as well for people to keep it clean. You know, don't be dirty. You know, maybe be aggressive, but don't be violent. You know, but yeah, congratulations to Mayweather. You know, great boxer. You know, very skilled, very talented. I love his style of boxing. He's a living legend. You know, I have high respect for him. You know, and I hope that people could be more guided towards the way that he boxes, and maybe like a Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali. Bruce Lee during his time had high respect for Muhammad Ali. During my time, I have high respect for Mayweather. So Mayweather, Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali. Don't worry about any of the other people. You know, because, you know, the energies that they're putting out is just not the right energy. You know, be good at what you do, but have compassion for everybody. You know, that's very important. You know, as you train in the martial arts, and as you train in combat. So that's what I gotta say.